XRP could run into a supply shock way sooner than Bitcoin ever will, and when I first got that, it honestly gave me chills. I know it sounds wild because everyone thinks Bitcoin is the super scarce one, right? But hear me out. The other night I was just scrolling through crypto Twitter like usual and I saw this tweet about an upcoming XRP supply shock. It mentioned a report from WisdomTree, this huge $100 billion asset manager. At first I was like, yeah, right, that has to be hype. XRP has 100 billion tokens total, how could it ever get scarce? So I jumped into our free Discord, links in the description if you want to join, and asked if anyone had seen that WisdomTree thing. A bunch of people had, and we all started talking about it. That's when I knew I had to dig in myself. I grabbed a coffee and went down the rabbit hole. By the end, you'll get why some folks are even whispering about triple-digit XRP prices. You'll hear the whole story so you can decide for yourself. Oh, and along the way I found this other project called Unity Nodes that's pretty interesting too. Stick around for that. So, the big question is, how could XRP actually face a supply shock? For years people have said XRP can't go up because there are just too many tokens, 100 billion of them. I used to think the same thing. Compared to Bitcoin's 21 million cap, it felt like way too much. But here's the twist, that 100 billion number is kinda misleading. A huge portion has been locked up by Ripple in escrow and they only let it out slowly. Since 2017, they've been releasing 1 billion XRP from escrow every month. It's like a slow drip. But they don't actually sell or use all of it. Usually they put about 700 million back into a new escrow. So on average, only around 300 million new XRP enters the market each month. At that rate, the escrow should run out in about 9 years or so, around 2035. That's not some crazy far future, it's pretty soon, we might even have kids by then. But that timeline assumes things stay exactly the same. What if XRP starts getting used more and Ripple uses more than 300 million a month? Say they start using 400 million instead, then the escrow could empty by 2033. Some analysts have run numbers where usage keeps growing by an extra 100 million each year, and in that case it could be gone in just 6 years, and if they stopped putting any back at all and released the full billion every month, it would be empty in about 3 years. I'm not saying that'll happen, but it shows the range. Either way, in the next decade or sooner, that scheduled drip from escrow is going to end. Once all the XRP is released and there's no more coming from escrow, things change. Every time someone sends an XRP transaction, a tiny bit gets burned, destroyed forever as the fee. It's a super small amount, like fractions of a penny, but it adds up. Since launch, over 14 million XRP have already been burned just from normal use. That number keeps growing slowly. After the escrow is done, those burns will be the only thing reducing the total supply, so instead of the supply growing like it does now, it'll start shrinking, even if it's just a little at a time. That was my big whoa moment. XRP could basically turn into a deflationary asset pretty soon. The supply will actually start going down over time. Right now 14 million burned out of 100 billion is nothing, but if usage picks up, especially for payments or DeFi, that burning will matter more and more. Year after year, the total number of XRP will get smaller. Meanwhile, Bitcoin will keep getting new coins mined every 10 minutes until the year 2140. That's over 100 years from now. We'll all be gone by then, or maybe living on Mars or something. So XRP could hit its real scarcity point in the next 5 to 10 years, while Bitcoin's full scarcity is still a century away. WisdomTree pointed this out in their report. They said Bitcoin's 21 million cap won't be fully reached until 2140, but XRP's full supply will be out there in just a few years. They think XRP could be a nice complement to Bitcoin, fast, cheap transactions plus near-term scarcity, while Bitcoin is the long-term store of value. Beyond the escrow and the burning, there's more stuff making people excited about a possible supply crunch. New DeFi projects like Flare with FXRP and Axel with MXRP let people lock up XRP to get wrapped versions they can use on other blockchains for lending, yield farming, and all that. The original XRP stays locked in a vault as collateral. If those projects really take off, they could lock away billions of XRP. Estimates I've seen are around 8 billion, which is about 13% of the total supply. That's a ton of XRP taken out of circulation and not available for trading. On top of that, there's institutional buying. Some big hedge funds and asset managers seem to be quietly accumulating XRP and even holding it long term. There's talk of companies adding it to their treasury reserves, like they do with Bitcoin or Ethereum, and then there's the buzz about possible XRP ETFs launching as soon as next month. If that happens, ETFs would have to buy and hold actual XRP, which could bring a big wave of new demand really fast. Put it all together, the escrow releases are ending, the total supply will soon be capped and then start shrinking from burns. Billions could get locked in DeFi, and institutions plus maybe ETFs are buying. If demand stays the same or grows, basic economics says the price should go up. When there are too many buyers and not enough XRP available at current prices, that's a supply shock, and the price has to rise to match. It's like when a hot new PlayStation comes out and everyone wants one but there aren't enough in stores, prices shoot up on resale sites. So naturally people start asking how high it could go. On Twitter and forums I've seen some wild predictions, triple digits like 100 plus per XRP, and even $500 way down the line. To be real, that's pretty hype talk right now. XRP is sitting around 2.65 to 270 or pushing toward $3 depending on the moment. Getting to $100 would need way more real-world adoption and money flowing in than we've seen so far. It's not impossible in crypto, but it's not something you should count on happening quick. What does feel very possible is that these changing supply dynamics could help XRP reach a much higher value over time. The old complaint about too much supply is starting to flip into a strength. Soon the market cap myth, that it can't go high because the total value would look huge, will feel outdated. What really matters is supply and demand. I'm not a financial advisor, and this isn't financial advice. Crypto is super volatile. You could lose everything. Do your own research and talk to a pro if you need to. This is just for fun and learning. In our Discord, opinions are mixed. Some are ready to load up on XRP, others are waiting to see. After digging into this, I've gotten more bullish myself and even added a little more to my stack, but I'm not going all in or selling everything else. Diversification still makes sense. Crypto can surprise you in good and bad ways. If you're thinking about buying or trading XRP, use trusted exchanges and keep your stuff secure. I split my activity between a couple, like Bybit and BitGet. Affiliate links in the description if you want to check them out. Helps the channel at no extra cost to you. During my research I also came across Unity Nodes, which isn't directly about XRP but it's pretty cool. It lets regular people use their smartphones to help verify global telecom networks and earn crypto rewards. It's a partnership with World Mobile and the Minutes Network. You basically turn your phone into something that makes test calls to check if cell towers are working. When your phone helps verify the network, you get paid in crypto. BTC, Ethereum, ADA, and others. To join, you buy a Unity Node license as an NFT. They're limited in number. Once you have it, you can run the app and even let other people use capacity under your node and share the rewards. It's a neat idea. Crowdsourcing better mobile coverage while earning crypto. It's risky like any new project, and I'm not telling you to buy one, but it shows how wild and creative crypto can get. One minute you're looking at token economics, the next you're learning how your phone could help test cell towers and earn Bitcoin. Back to XRP, the big thing for me is that its whole story is shifting. It's moving from a time where supply was increasing every month from escrow to a time of zero new supply and even slow deflation from burns. That's a huge change. If use cases and demand keep growing along with it, the case for higher value gets stronger. A supply shock doesn't guarantee anything by itself, demand still has to show up. But XRP is getting attention from payments, DeFi, and institutions, so there's a good shot demand will at least stay steady or grow. I'll be watching closely, especially if those ETFs launch or if Flare and the others start locking up a lot of XRP. It wouldn't surprise me if a year from now we're all saying, remember when XRP was under $3 and people didn't believe it could run? After all this, I'm walking away feeling way more confident about XRP's long-term chances. 7. Fast.